Hi, I'm Michael Doyle with the Virtual Edge Institute. Welcome to our new studio. With me today, I have Steve Boyce and Drew Van Voren of InExpo. And we're going to have a little chat about what these folks have been up to and pretty exciting news. So first of all, I want to say that Drew is the only one here with shorts on behind the desk. So the rest of us have our suits on. So anyway, Drew, let's start with you. You're traveling a lot. You're seeing a lot of people out there. I've heard a lot of great things with different customers out there, programs you've been running. Bring us up to date.
So there's just so much that's been going on that I'd like to maybe just share my last couple of weeks with you, Michael. I had the opportunity to go out to Taleo World. Taleo is a leading provider in the talent space and also the learning space with their acquisition of Learn.com. And it's been really exciting. We have recently fully integrated the InExpo technology with their learning system, and we're working on integrating for different types of programs around their talent management system. And it's just so exciting now to see in the mainstream course of business how we're being able to extend the learning or the ability of recruiting or finding an employee to these great world-class systems. And we announced at Taleo World our new partnership and integration. So that's how 3 weeks ago was our first announcement. And I just freshly got home late last night, around midnight, from Vegas, and we were out at Jive World. And we announced the integration inside of Jive 5, inside of their apps component, where right from the Jive community, you can now launch different types of events that are driven by lots and lots of people gathering on different subjects. So just with recently with our Taleo and Jive, it's been really exciting now to see the virtualization of our events really hitting mainstream.
Well, that's great. So I'm going to jump over to you, Steve. And Steve is really one of the people behind the whole PCMA 365 environment. And of course, we just recently had a very important announcement that PCMA is investing in the Virtual Edge Institute, hence this wonderful studio. But seriously, Steve has done an awful lot of work in the last year and a half or so with PCMA and bringing them along in the virtual world. And I was wondering if you could share some of what you're doing, what you have done, and then also kind of a look at what might be coming in the future.
Sure, Michael. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And you're right, it's been about a year and a half since we began working with PCMA. Of course, Drew spoke with Deborah Sexton, the CEO of PCMA, about the opportunity to take virtual technologies to help extend the content and conversation of the great face-to-face events that PCMA produces. So, of course, they have their annual conference convening leaders, which we ran a hybrid event for the first time in 2011 when they were based in Las Vegas. You'll recall we were co-located with Virtual Edge at the time, a wonderful program as well. So that was really the inaugural hybrid event, Michael, that we started with. Since that time, we've run over 20 virtual events and extensions with PCMA. So they really have been a tremendous organization to work with. We've certainly learned a lot together about how to use the technology to help deliver educational programs and content that's of interest and value to their community. So it's been a really exciting partnership for InExpo. And we look forward to now an even greater set of opportunities in 2012 as we look to begin planning for programs in the next year. I don't know if you'd like me to go into some detail about what those are.
Well, one thing is, Drew, you mentioned you were at Taleo, and curious, is there any plans for integration into PCMA platform with a learning module?
Sure. So, in fact, we just spoke on this very exciting day for Virtual Edge and PCMA. We've been working with the folks at PCMA in terms of their course curriculum of how members of the 365-day community can easily consume and be educated within that environment. So with our recent integration with Taleo, we now have a fully accredited learning system, and that particular integration is something we're looking at right now with PCMA of how we can integrate that capability into PCMA 365.
Great. And so, Steve, what's the timeline look like for that?
Well, of course, we want to move as aggressively as we can. Obviously, we've got a lot of
sure
programs.
Deb wants it done already.
Of course, you know, Deb, obviously, such a great innovator in the space, and really not only taking technology and virtual, but all kinds of opportunities to her membership. So, of course, she and PCMA are very excited about the learning capabilities and the ability for PCMA to deliver a more enhanced learning experience. I think what we're going to shoot for is to try to announce some things at the upcoming Convening Leaders event, which will be in January 2012 in San Diego. So we'll have some exciting programs to announce, but it's really taking what they've already begun to build. They offer programs today around the CMP and CASE, as well as a series of webinars and other content which their members can earn continuing education credits. So we're going to help them take that and advance that to the next level.
Yeah, I've got a lot of confidence that Deb will definitely have us ready for Convening Leaders about an offering for the members to start to consume a really great learning experience.
And of course, we're talking about Deb Sexton, who's the president of PCMA. And one of the things that in our recent announcement with PCMA that came up as a question from some of the media that was there is the whole issue around pricing for virtual. And I think the reporter that asked the question was really looking at kind of the fear factor when it gets to the cost of doing some type of digital engagement with their events. So I'm wondering, Drew. You and I have talked a little bit about some new pricing models. Wonder if you're ready to talk about some of those now, and we can share with folks?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, as you know, Michael, pricing and the ease of configuring a price to do a virtual event, quite frankly, sometimes is a science. But what we've really done is move to more of a subscription model. And what that means is, depending on the amount of users that you would want to travel through your environment or multiple environments, and that's really the key. So just as a simple example, for 5,000, what we call tickets would allow you to have one event with 5,000 unique people attending it, or you could have 50 events with unique people attending it. So we've really moved away from exactly how you're going to use the different environments, not really concerned about how many people will really show up at the environment, but really giving a tremendous amount of flexibility and, quite frankly, lowering the cost dramatically of each event has been accomplished within the subscription place. And the marketplace and our customers really like the flexibility.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So we talked a little bit about integration with learning environments. You mentioned Jive World, and I want to talk a little bit more about that because it's one of the things that I have been talking about for a while now, that there's going to be this period where there's going to be heavy integration, and you're not going to have standalone platforms for everything you want to do. You're not going to have a standalone membership platform if you're an association, not a standalone registration system, not a standalone community, not a standalone virtual environment. So with Jive World, and you can talk a little bit about your business relationship with Jive, but also just Jive World. What is driving that, and what does that look like for a user?
So if you've experienced being in a Jive community, you're in your environment, you're collaborating with your peers every day. There is, inside of the App Store, you'll be able to see all the events that are occurring in your organization. You can sign up for those events, and that's a critical thing, Michael, that you talked about. Mm-hmm. Think about the user's journey, okay? There are so many great point systems that are out there today, but it feels like a difficult entry. So I've got to sign on to one system, and then if I want to go use tools on another system, I have to sign on. What we've been able to accomplish in the Jive World community is giving access through a single sign-on to be able to sign up and attend events that are occurring all around the globe within a corporation, and you feel like you're just traveling into a big room like you're going to McCormick Place here in Chicago. So I think what's really converging is thinking about what the user does, not what the software and the technology does. And we've got to make it very easy to come into one environment and be able to get to all these great systems. So collaboration, quite frankly, has never been so open. And we have a docket of some things I can't share and some things I can. But in 2012, you'll see a list of 20 enterprise organizations specifically for different functions that are completely integrated with the Inexpo system.
And if I could just add, Michael, to what Drew said, clearly the integration with programs and platforms like Taleo, like Jive, offer the kind of program and content and experience flexibility that customers and enterprises are looking for. It certainly helps to improve the user experience and what they get from those opportunities, but I think there's also an impact on the affordability equation, because when you think about total cost of ownership of a virtual experience, it's not just the virtual component. As you listed off many other issues with face-to-face and integrated hybrid events, registration, membership systems, and the like, the ability for the virtual platform to integrate with a customer's existing technology helps keep those additional costs low as well. So I really think that flexibility of architecture and platform design goes a long way to making the total cost of ownership much more manageable.
Yeah, well, and you brought up a good point, and one of the things I wanted to mention is mobility. I mean, that's, you know, we just launched the Virtual Edge directory recently, and we have over 420 listings in there. The number one category, by far, more than twice as many as all the others, is mobile. Right. And so how is that going to work from a, you know, when you're in, say, a Jive World or a Jive environment, how would the mobile work for the, you know, for the virtual presence, the Inexpo portion of that?
So, you know, it really depends on the type of event and where the community resides. So an outside lead generation community could reside on any appliance around the globe. Internally, it would integrate with a Jive downloadable application for their mobile. But you know, at Inexpo, we feel we've got a really great mobile strategy. We just released our first mobile application for the iPhone and the iPad. You'll see the Android and other mobile downloadable applications you know, come into play over the next several months. But we also feel that we've got to have access to our system from anywhere, anytime. And I'm going to hold that for another discussion, but we're on to something that's going to allow, really, regardless of your appliance, to be able to get into these events. So I think you're going to find there's going to be two options. Our partners are going to have their mobile applications, and if the strength of the community is coming from something they already have on their appliance or a gateway into, we're going to go in that direction. If it's more of an open invitation, we want to provide the ability for access to any of our events.
That makes a lot of sense. And we're running out of time here, so I just want to say thank you very much to Drew and Steve, and we look forward to seeing you at the Virtual Edge Summit, which is going to be co-located with PCMA convening leaders. It's in January, the 8th through the 11th at the San Diego Convention Center. And you can find out more information at virtualedge.org and virtualedgesummit.com. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Michael.
Michael.